This coffee cake's the bee's knees. Don't sleep on it. Starbucks coffee cake is great. I actually just had it for the very first time 2 weeks ago. And I was like, does it have caffeine in it? No, it doesn't have caffeine in it. So, went to Starbucks, then I went to Panera, and I'm gonna eat a bagel right before I get my workout in. So, I'm gonna flash this on the screen so you guys can actually see this, exactly what I'm looking at. So I've already pre-planned all my macros for the rest of the day. This is gonna be my first tip, is to just make sure that you pre-plan all your food. The reason I recommend pre-planning, and I wanna show from experience rather than, you know, more so like an expert, I guess. Yes, I do know like expert things. I'm a fat loss specialist coach, as well as I'm, you know, a bodybuilding coach, and just like helping people with their fitness goals overall. I'm just showing you guys what I'm actually eating. So I had coffee cake earlier, like I mentioned. Then I had a turkey, bacon, egg white sandwich from Starbucks. And now I'm about to eat a blueberry bagel from Panera. And then I plan to eat about 8 slices of pizza later. So not like a full big pizza. These are like little mini slices, but they're thick.
Damn, boy, he's thick, boy! That's a thick-ass boy!
So kind of similar to like a pan pizza, not Chicago style, but I'm gonna have 7.5 ounces of chicken breast, some protein, Pescience protein, shout out to them, their protein powder is great. I'm gonna have some skim milk, and I'm gonna drink a beer. So it's my birthday, why not? One drink for the birthday to bring in the new year. So the reason I pre-planned all this is because I want to still hit my fitness goals, even though it's technically my birthday. I could eat really anything I want to eat, but I like planning in this way so that I don't have to be super restrictive on what else I'm gonna eat throughout, you know, the rest of my day. I don't do any sort of keto diets or any other fad diets just because it's not worth it, in my opinion. I mean, I would love to be able to have just straight up junk food all day long and look amazing, but it's not possible. I mean, there might be some genetic freaks out there that can do that, but for me, I know it's definitely not possible. By pre-planning out what I'm gonna eat, I know that I'm getting my protein intake in. And let me just show you guys really quick what my actual goals are. So this is where I'm at. So I'm at 239 grams of protein for today, 362 on my carbs, and then 65 grams of fat. So my goal is 240 on my protein, and then 360 carb, 60 fat. So I'm just a tiny bit over on fat, and a little bit under on protein, a little bit over on carbs. Just by mapping out what I'm gonna eat is gonna allow me to get there. If I just straight up entered in only foods that I wanted, I would probably be way, way off. It's finding that loophole of like what you want to eat versus what you like to eat, and then kind of making it work so that you can still hit your goals. If you only eat what you like to eat, I mean, that's like saying you want to be, you know, a race car driver and only driving like a Honda Civic. Like you got to get into a race car at some point so that you can learn the skills and, you know, be prepared. That's my first big tip on tracking your intake. Pretty tough even though I'm deloaded. Right now, I am doing a pretty leg intensive workout program. So I train legs about 3 times a week. This week is a deload week, so I'm going a lot lighter. What I'm pretty much doing is I'm taking my weights from the very first week that I worked out or started the program, and I'm dropping the reps in half. A little out of breath from it. Yeah, my legs are just a little sore, hip flexors a little tight. So overall, in order to help with losing fat, to make sure that your weight training is really crucial. So weight training is going to tell your body to keep more muscle mass around, and basically, from my own experience, I noticed at the times when my weight training intensity isn't nearly as high as it should be. So let's say that I'm like in the gym and I'm giving it like some sort of effort, but I know I can keep pushing for more. My actual fat loss, it happens, but it's not as good. Like I'll still get lean, but I won't get as lean as I really want to be. And I think that ultimately makes for me losing muscle in the long run, which is something, you know, I never want to do, especially as a competitive bodybuilder. Making sure that my intensity is right where it should be. I'm not training to failure every session, but I'm training just shy of failure. when you're doing that, you're pretty much encouraging your body to not only build muscle mass, but to really maintain all that it has. So if you notice that you're going through like a dieting phase or a fat loss phase and you're losing a lot of strength while you're training, I actually have a friend that I was talking to about that the other day, you're probably not training nearly as hard as you need to. You shouldn't really be losing that much strength throughout the entire time frame. You should really pretty much be maintaining it, and then if you're getting like really, really lean and not just like a winter cut or a summer shred, then you're not putting enough effort into your actual training. So yeah, we keep training. All right guys, so it's about 7:30 and I've been on the phone with my family, replying to some Facebook messages. Again, it's my birthday, so I, gotta do birthday things. So right now we're actually sitting in a parking lot. See that? Sitting in a parking lot not too far from where we live, and we're planning on just going on a quick walk. I only have about
oh my god.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So 2,200 steps for the day, and I'm a person that gets in over 10,000 steps every single day. So 2,200 is not that much. Kay doesn't want to walk, not nearly that much. But this place that we're at it's actually like a pretty sick place. There's a lot of people walking around or parking in this parking lot that look like they're going out to dinner. I mean, it's New Year's Eve, and I always think about that. People always go out to dinner on my birthday, and I'm like, man, people get so dolled up for my birthday, and I do next to nothing like 90% of the time. Sometimes I do stuff, but I'm not like planning like months in advance like most people do. And I always used to like think about it like growing up, like, and even in college, my friends would be like, yeah, so we got like this New Year's Eve party, do you want to go? And I'm like, I mean, did you guys want to plan a birthday party? And they're like, no, we got a New Year's Eve party. And I'm like, all right, thanks guys. My plan right now is to walk and get hopefully another 8,000 steps in. And I know it sounds crazy, 7:30 on New Year's Eve, I'm gonna walk for another 8,000 steps, but that's the reality of it. In order to stay lean, I really want to make sure I'm staying active, and that would be like my next biggest tip, is to find things where you can kind of incorporate it in your daily schedule already to stay active. So I didn't really have a whole lot planned today other than really going to the gym and ordering a pizza for dinner. A lot of times I like to do things in places, or I like to stay active and walk in places where either maybe I want to eventually look for a house there, or maybe I want to just see that area because it's someplace I haven't been. And so I kind of disguise my activity level within things that I like to do, and that's really, really helpful. So sometimes I'll even like just go to the mall and I'll walk around the mall, and even during this season, which is a little bit harder to walk around the mall, I'll just do it because, hey, I mean, I like going to the mall. I like, new clothes and stuff like that. Even if I don't want to actually go and buy anything at the time, it's just sometimes it's fun to just walk around and look at some stuff and get my steps in at the same time. So that's what I'm about to do right now. I'll show you guys a little bit of this area. This is a really cool area in Columbus. Really like it. Ultimately, I don't think I want to buy a house around here or anything like that, but just a cool spot. So yeah, staying active will be my next biggest tip for helping with fat loss. So my glasses are fogging. My trick to get my glasses to unfog. We're walking. It is freezing out here. Hands are super cold, and as soon as I start talking, my glasses fog up again. So trying to get the steps in. Oh, Schoolboy Q. Just got some Twitter notice about Schoolboy Q. All right, so 3,000 steps now. Just about 3,000. 29:58. So there you guys can see that. 29:58. I'm gonna keep on walking. I mean, it's just a part of the process. This is a really nice area. Kind of also nice to see like places that we can potentially go once things do start to open back up a little bit more. Places we can hang out, meet up with friends. That's what I tell myself too as we're walking around here. I'm really hungry though, thinking about that pizza. And I really would love just like, I want to text my coach real bad and just be like, hey Sam, can I just eat whatever because it's my birthday? And I know he'd be like, no, my birthday was 2 days ago, so I didn't just eat whatever. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Older brother, big coach. Big brother, older brother, big coach. He's big, he's massive. Yeah, let's get this walk going. Alrighty, so it took us absolutely forever to get done with that walk. I am officially 9,000, I don't think you guys can see that, 9,695 steps away from being done for the day. So I'm just assuming that I'm gonna get these last few bits. I'm not just assuming, I'm actually planning. I'm getting the last few bits of steps from just walking around, getting dinner ready. So what I'm having for dinner, I'm actually pretty under on my protein goal right now. So I'm gonna have about 16 ounces of chicken breast, Yes, for dinner, 16 ounces of 99% lean chicken breast. So what ended up happening, and the reason I'm having all this protein right now, is because ultimately I planned to have some pizza for dinner, and I mapped the entire thing out. I had all the macros plans that you guys saw earlier, and then I actually had to switch things up because the pizza place that we wanted to go to ended up closing early on my birthday. But I mean, I can't be too upset about it because it's my birthday, it's New Year's Eve, I gotta expect everything to close early. So what I'm planning on having right now is I'm gonna try to split my meals into two. It's 10:53 at night, and I'm still gonna go to bed at a reasonable time, not super duper crazy late. But what I'm planning on doing is splitting my food into two. Right now, as you guys can see, I'm making a chicken and rice meal. So this is just, again, chicken breast right here with white rice. I'm doing about 75 grams of white rice. So the serving size for the rice is actually about 45 grams. So I'm almost going close to double. So I'm of course adjusting my macros to fit that. But then I'm also gonna top it with a little bit of barbecue sauce just because I'm a fiend for barbecue chicken and rice. It's one of my favorite meals. I'm kind of a plain Jane when it comes to making foods that I like. I just, am completely content with just straight up chicken, rice, and a little bit of sauce. And then my second meal is actually gonna be my faux buffalo wings. A lot of times I'll just put chicken in my air fryer, and that's actually what I'm doing for both of these. But chicken with a little bit of hot sauce and maybe just a splash of butter. Other thing that I would like to note is that I'm getting my water in. So as you guys can see, I'm drinking out of a hydro jug. It's a really great utensil to make sure that you get in at least a gallon of water a day, or at least that's how I use it. I try to fill it up twice a day, get in a full gallon of water, and make sure that I'm up on that. My next tip would definitely be to make sure that your protein intake is high. So personally, my protein intake is way higher than I would say most people's protein intakes are. So I'm about 174 pounds right now, maybe teetering close to 175. My general recommendation for most people would be about 1 gram per pound of lean mass. So if you're a fairly lean guy or gal, you can pretty much go with roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you are about 170 pounds and you are 10% body fat, to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound, generally speaking, is typically okay. But you could also, if you're like me, a pro bodybuilder, and trying to build a little bit more muscle mass, it helps to go a little bit higher than that. And there are a lot of great studies out there. Check out Mass, check out examine.com, and I also read a lot of different things that are published on PubMed that talk about individuals who consume a higher protein intake, whether they're in a muscle gaining phase or even a deficit. So if you're trying to lose weight, it helps to keep more lean mass around. So even though I'm not currently in a fat loss phase, my protein intake is pretty high. Especially if you're in a fat loss phase, it is highly important to keep your protein high. When I started my fat loss phase back in January of 2020, I started at about 250 grams of protein a day, and that didn't change throughout the entire time frame. So as I was 194 pounds, 250 grams of protein a day, that's how I started. And then as I got all the way down to 157 pounds, and I think I might have touched 156 at a point, I still was eating 250 grams of protein a day. That was a staple. The reason why my protein was so high is because, again, it helps support lean muscle mass, it helps build it. So as I continue to diet, and remember how I talked about earlier, becoming leaner is more important or more beneficial than what most people want, rather than becoming more skinny. So it supported my lean muscle mass and kept that around as my carbs and my fats were adjusted downward. A protein intake that's pretty high can be sometimes hard to hit. One thing I really like to do, and I'll do a lot, and if you haven't already checked it out, check out my wife and I's channel at The Jones Kitchen right here on YouTube. One thing I like to do is I like to take different recipes and different foods that I already love and incorporate more protein into it. So even my dinner, split into two, chicken and rice with barbecue sauce, and then again, just plain old chicken breast with some hot sauce. What I'm telling myself is I'm just eating a healthier version of buffalo wings for this chicken and hot sauce. And then on the other side, the chicken, the rice, and the barbecue sauce, that's still just me telling myself I'm having like a stir fry. So that's the way I like to think about things. And maybe you can benefit from doing it that way too. So that way you're not feeling like you're forcing yourself to eat foods you don't like. Again, I start my mornings off right now with coffee cake, so I'm able to fit that in, coffee cake, donuts, things like that, but I kind of limit it, and even though it's tough to limit it, I'd rather have it than not have it, and limit the rest of my diet down to foods that I like, not always foods that I want right that second. So, and what actually ends up happening is a lot of times I'll like crave things, like right now, definitely craving pizza because that's what I planned, but then the pizza place closed. So eating chicken and rice isn't necessarily like a complete loss for me. It's kind of like a way for me to find that wiggle room of, okay, I like this type of food, it meets my goals, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I'll still be pretty happy in the end. And then another thing that keeps me motivated towards still hitting my protein goal is the way I actually feel afterwards. You know, tomorrow when I go to train, I'll probably have a better training session than if I were to just be like, you know, F it, and I'm just gonna go crazy on some pizza and just eat whatever I want. So, you know, being aware of how you feel is, I think, a little bit more important too, rather than just going with what sounds the greatest. Because then you might start eating it and you might be like, that was a waste of time. That is my tip number 4 for you guys. So, keep your protein intake high, it's beneficial. Alrighty guys, so this is what I'm having for dinner. Got all my foods right here, even weighed out. A little bit of beer I'm planning on having. I'm not really an alcohol drinker, but it's New Year's Eve. It's also my birthday. Well, technically it's New Year's Day now. So as I've discussed today, these tips, you know, as far as tracking your intake, making sure that you're lifting weights, staying active, and then finally getting in your protein intake are going to be 4 pillars that can definitely help you with trying to lose fat, especially coming up in this year, 2021. And I'm explaining to you guys the way that I've done it. So, I mean, you see firsthand how I'm currently eating. You've seen firsthand the type of workouts I do. Again, you also know the type of way I incorporate my steps in on a day-to-day basis. And then you see how I track my food and just making sure that I get everything input into my FitnessPal actually prior to eating it. One thing I wanted to mention specifically about alcohol, if you guys want to see another video where I go over how to track your alcohol, definitely comment down below, let me know. A lot of people just don't know how to record alcohol as their calories, so definitely let me know if you guys want to see one of those. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on another great video just like this one. And Happy New Year, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.